Today is Thursday, May 23rd, 2024, and you're listening to ZIZ Radio, 96.1 FM. I'm Devonne, Cornelius, and welcome to The Edge. It is 11:02 a.m., and thank you so much for joining me on the program for today. A pleasant morning is wished to all of you in St. Kitts and Nevis and other parts of the Caribbean, and good afternoon and good evening to those of you who are listening in other parts of the world. Of course, if you are in a different time zone, whether you're listening via the FM band or if you're listening via our TV channel, as well as our social media platforms such as Facebook and YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me on the program for today. The numbers to call to participate in the conversation are 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. You can call us later on when we open the phone lines so that you can lend your contribution to the discussion at hand. Nevertheless, good morning and thank you so much for joining me for today. And I look forward to having a fruitful conversation with you. Today I want to talk about youth unemployment and to look at some statistics and some of the factors that contribute to youth unemployment and what is being actively done or what is actively being done to address youth unemployment in St. Kitts and Nevis. And we will also look at data and statistics from across the Caribbean region, but of course bringing it home. And I would want to hear from you, the listeners, the callers, your suggestions, ideas, anything that you may have that you believe that could be employed to tackle the issue of youth unemployment. Whether it is advice that you're giving to the younger people, whether it is areas that you believe that they should get themselves trained and certified in, or whatever. But of course, I'd like to hear from you. So on the topic of youth unemployment, in St. Kitts and Nevis, the Federal Cabinet commissioned a task force in March of 2023, and this is according to a statement that I received earlier, a press release speaking on the formation of a National Youth Unemployment Task Force. So it says that the task force was formed to address the pressing issue of youth unemployment. And we have the Ministry of Youth, Aging and Disabilities spearheading the execution of this initiative. Recognizing the escalating rates of youth unemployment, the Cabinet has charged the task force with collecting relevant data to guide policy making. And so it is aimed at helping them to understand what are some of the jobs that are needed in the market, what are some of the areas that people would like to be trained and or certified in. So the task force is co-chaired by Janelle Lewis, the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Youth, Aging and Disabilities, and Malachi Ferguson, a permanent youth advocate, You Report lead ambassador, and youth parliamentarian. Representing diverse sectors, the task force comprises members from the Ministry of Youth Employment, Aging and Disabilities, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Social Development and Gender Affairs, Ministry of Sustainable Development, Ministry of Employment and Labor, STEP, and the Chamber of Industry and Commerce. And this cross-sectoral task force ensures a comprehensive approach to addressing youth unemployment, drawing on expertise from various fields to develop effective strategies and policies. Now, since its commissioning of March of 2023, the task force has been meeting regularly to address the challenges encountered by youth in securing employment. Recognizing the need for comprehensive data to inform recommendations to the government, they have determined that conducting a survey is essential. To ensure the survey's effectiveness, It has undergone rigorous vetting within our subgroups, within the subgroups that I mentioned earlier, and they have also conducted a focus group with a representative sample of the target demographic. Now, this process ensures that the survey is both understandable and easy to complete, thereby maximizing participation and the quality of the data collected. And so basically the idea is to ensure that the survey reaches all those people that it needs to reach, to ensure that the data and the information collected represents a wide cross-section of the society, in particular young people, so that they could get a better understanding of the jobs that are needed and of the areas that need to be prioritized in terms of training and all of that. Now, the target group, it says, is youth from the ages of 18 to 30, and of course, youth who reside on St. Kitts and or St. Kitts or Nevis. It says what upcoming initiatives can be expected. It says, and I quote, "We are preparing to launch the survey on March 31st, 2024 to encourage participation and ensure a high response rate. We have implemented a prize incentive system. Participants who complete the survey will have the opportunity to win prizes. This incentive is designed to motivate individuals to take the time to provide valuable feedback. The survey will be conducted digitally, utilizing various online platforms for promotion and data collection." And it says that we've also partnered with Europort OECS to facilitate data collection. I love that they will be doing it digitally as well. You know, this is 2024. And so we have to move and change with the times and all of that. So again, the aim is to ensure that the survey is accessible and it reaches the population, in particular youth from ages 18 to 30, and to ensure that they get valuable feedback and accurate information to guide policy directives, and to ensure that they know what jobs are needed in the labor market and what areas people would like to be trained in. But youth unemployment is a real issue, and unemployment as a whole is a real issue that we are not tackling, I would say, seriously. And so it's good to see the formation of this task force, which basically is to do just that. Focus on getting information and data about youth unemployment and looking at some of the social conditions of young people, looking at the youths that are most at risk in terms of the labor market access, looking at measures and corrective strategies and youth unemployment training programs in the Caribbean, because I think training programs must also form part of the conversation. Looking at the impact of the political process on youth training and employment partnership programs, and all of these other things. It is 10 minutes past the 11 o'clock hour, and so we're going to take a very short break. And when we come back, we will continue our conversation here on The Edge. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to The Edge for Thursday, May 23rd, 2024. I am Devonne, Cornelius, your host, and thank you so much for joining me in the program for today. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation. Stay with us.
Attention, citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis, a message from your government. In the face of rising gun violence, we offer a chance for redemption. From May 10th to May 25th, 2024, turn in your illegal firearms, ammunition, and accessories at any police station or to a lawyer without fear of prosecution.
If you are in possession of an illegal firearm or ammunition, if you are harboring such items for others, if thoughts of wielding a gun cross your mind, the moment for transformation is now.
Choose a future free from violence. Your loved ones will thank you. Turn in your guns. The time for change is now.
Mr. Gunman, tell me where you get out of killing, where you get out of blood spilling, what kind of sickness you have in your heart, for you get up every day, you must run for your living.
Hello and welcome back to The Edge and ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm Devonne, Cornelius, and thank you so much for joining me in the program for today. Remember, we're also live on ZIZ TV as well as our social media platforms. You can check us out on our YouTube page or our Facebook page as well to follow the conversation for today. And the numbers to call are 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. And we will open the phone lines later for you to make your contribution. Now, if you're just tuning in, we're on the topic of youth unemployment in St. Kitts and Nevis and the formation of a task force to address that. Training is really important. It doesn't matter if you think you're the best at what you do. There is always something new. There is always something better that you can learn. And this report was prepared by the International Labour Organization, ILO, and it was commissioned by the Caribbean office of the ILO. It was undertaken by Dennis Pantin, an economist and researcher at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine campus. And it appears in 2 volumes. Volume 1, which appears here, is the executive summary, synopsis, and policy conclusions, and 2 contains the country case studies. Now, it focuses on the youth in the labor force in the Caribbean and social conditions of youth, such as the factor of age, the factor of wealth, income, social class, the factor of educational status, the factor of gender, the factor of race, disability, the factor of one's location and where they live, the urban and rural location, and the factor of family conditions. It also speaks about youth most at risk in terms of labor market access, youth crime and violence, causes of youth unemployment and underemployment, and remedial measures and corrective strategies. It also focuses on youth employment training programs in the Caribbean and looking at some of the programs that should be implemented. Evaluation of those said training programs. Now, if we could, let me give you a brief overview of youth in the labor force in the Caribbean. So, and give me 1 second. All right. So, the total labor force of the predominantly English-speaking Caribbean currently stands at approximately 2.7 million people, and this is not data for 2024. 2.7 million. And at that time, 26 of the labor force were between 16 and 24. Males make up a greater share of the labor force on average between the ages of 16 and 24 across the region. However, there are country-specific variations, and the pattern becomes less pronounced in the 25 to 29 age group, where female participants roughly equal that of males in Jamaica, Barbados, the Bahamas, St. Lucia, and the Netherlands Antilles. The youth cohort looms larger in terms of unemployment. An estimated 404,000 people, or 15% of the region's labor force, are unemployed. Of this, 51% or 204,000 are between the ages of 15 to 24. As a result, youth unemployment rates are substantially above the national averages across the region and average about 40% in the 15 to 19 age group and 30% in the 20 to 24 age group. Now, looking at some of the social conditions of youth, what is the nature of the socialization process which is preparing Caribbean youth for their role in the 21st century? It is impossible to provide a simple answer to this complex question. To begin with, it is necessary to distinguish between differing types of youth. The main criteria for such a classification includes age, economic and social status, educational status, race and color, gender and health status. Urban and rural location and family conditions are somewhat independent factors which need to be taken into account. Now, the factor of age. Although youth includes the 16 to 24 age group, it is necessary to disaggregate further into subgroups of age. In this, two related age groups are included. The first is the 13 to 15 age group, since a proportion of this group tend to find themselves in a nether world of being out of school but simultaneously classified as too young to work or to be placed in a non-formal employment training opportunities or programs rather. The 25 to 29 age group also is included, since many of the chronic, uneducated or unemployed fall within this group, and some countries include this group in the youth population. The factor of wealth and income status, it would be naive to exclude the factor of social class, which largely correlates with levels of family wealth and income. Both of these related attributes provide youth with different access to the job and job training market. Looking at the educational status, in one sense, this may be the most important factor, in that someone who has achieved at the highest level of the formal education system is unlikely to experience job difficulties, whatever their age, wealth, income, and social class. However, the literature also shows that the educated classes tend to dominate the educational process, thereby reproducing themselves. That is, the children of those with more education are likely to have an above average opportunity of themselves being educated. The factor of location. As in virtually every society, education and training and job and self-employment opportunities tend to be greater in urban areas. On the other side, social dysfunctionality and alienation also tend to be higher in the urban areas. This factor is most evident in Jamaica, which is a large enough island to make urban-rural distance to be significant in time and sociological terms. And this is less so in Trinidad, certainly in Tobago, even less so in Barbados and other CARICOM countries. As I mentioned, other things to look at is the family conditions and disability and all of these things. I love the fact that it mentioned that normally people who have the highest level of education, they don't usually face difficulties in searching for a job, because you find that they are qualified and well trained in that particular area. In other cases, because of their high level of education, they are underemployed. And so while they may be in a position where they are employed in a mid-management or a junior level, it may be a case where they are so educated and knowledge and experience and all of that, they really should be at a senior level, but they're at a junior level. And they're not receiving the pay that they would have received had they been in a senior level. And so that basically is what underemployment is, where you get a job, but you're far more qualified for that job. But that's the only job that you can get at that point in time. And it looks at the factor of age, where there is the discrimination, where some people believe that men must do this type of work and women must do this type of work. And that is not necessarily so. There's some women who you would find in construction, and there's some men who you would find in domestic or different types of employment that may be seen as employment predominantly or more so for women. And these are some of the things that people look at. Family conditions, they may be living in a condition that is not conducive for growth in terms of getting an education or getting the opportunity to participate in some sort of training program. The factor of disability, some people completely write you off and deem you unproductive if you have a disability. Perhaps you are wheelchair bound, and because of that they say, well, you can't do this job because you may not be able to use one of your hands. They may say, okay, you're not in a position to do this. We have people with disabilities, they face different and peculiar problems in accessing both the job market and preparatory educational and employment training institutions. Now, it looks at the causes of youth employment and underemployment. And shortly, I'm going to open the phone lines to hear from you in terms of what are some of the factors you think contribute to youth unemployment, and what are some of the areas that you think young people should take up in terms of the actual employment and training. So it reads that two main types of factors explain the persistence and deepening of difficulties faced by Caribbean young people in the region's labor markets. On one hand, there are supply side factors. So a 1993 commission on youth in Barbados found, for example, that among the reasons advanced to explain youth unemployment in that island were inadequate education, lack of appropriate training in terms of multi-skilling, relevance to modern technology, and exceedingly high occupational and wage aspirations, lack of work experience, and inappropriate attitudes. That's a big. These are perfect examples that I think people take for granted. So, looking at modern technology, it could be a case where a particular business or a company is looking for an officer or somebody to fill a particular role, but as part of working in that position, you must be able to operate some sort of device or some sort of technology. And because you are unable to do so, that job or that opportunity has been passed on to someone else. Lack of appropriate training, where they have the education, but they don't have the hands-on training to do the work right away. You may have a case where the company needs to hire somebody new, and they need that person to begin working now, not 3 months from later, but now. And so those are some of the causes of underemployment and unemployment. It also looks at the high occupational and wage aspirations. There's some people who have some unreasonable demands in terms of what they should be paid when they're not putting in the amount of work to get that type of salary. And so you might have a young person who has no experience at all, no sort of training, nothing, but they're telling you for this job they want $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, which is ridiculous. Lack of work experience and inappropriate attitudes. And this goes both ways. Now, looking at the, and we're going to open the phone line. It's just about 11:30. It's 11:27. Just to share a bit more information with you before we open the phone lines. Now, this section looks at dominance of the public sector. Perhaps the single most common characteristics in the dominance of the public sector in the provision of youth employment training in the Caribbean. In Barbados, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, and the rest of the Caribbean, with the exception of, in the Caribbean, there is no private sector or non-governmental initiative which can match that of the state in terms of number of trainees. Employment training and political social amelioration. It says appraisal of many programs suggests that most carry the burden of their origins as responses to social crises, as noted. Impact of the political process on these programs, where a training opportunity starts with this term, and by the next term, that training program has been demolished and something else has started. And so you have a case where, because of politics, training programs don't go on, they don't continue, and no one really seeks to try to better the program instead of ending the program. And so that is one of the things that really affect youth employment in the region. It also speaks to a dependence on informal training and all of these things. We're going to open the phone lines now, and as I said, taking your calls in terms of your suggestion on what are some of the factors or some of the things that we can do here in St. Kitts and Nevis to address the issue of youth unemployment and underemployment, and I'd say employment generally, and some of the factors that you think contribute to unemployment. What are some of the reasons why you think people can't find work? Is it that they are not willing to train? Is it that they're not willing to get themselves certified? Is it that they're not willing to start somewhere and end up where they wanted to be in the first place? I want to hear from you. But do we have any callers in the line? We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll head back to the phone lines. We'll head to the phone lines, and take your calls at 465-2555 or 718-577-2916.
The future is unknown. Protect your life, your family, and your valuables from unforeseen circumstances. Let National Caribbean Insurance give you the peace of mind that you so deserve. At NCI, we offer a suite of affordable insurance plans that can be tailored to ease your financial burden. We aim to deliver exceptional products to satisfy all your insurance needs. Whether life, health, motor, or property insurance, NCI has the right solution for you. Our friendly and knowledgeable sales professionals are ready and able to assist you. Let National Caribbean Insurance Company Limited help you to prepare for the unexpected. We serve, we protect, we satisfy. That's NCI.
Welcome back to the program. We have a caller on the line. We do. Hello, caller. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Cornelius.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. This is Tina Claxton.
All right.
Yes, you were talking about the youth and employment in this country. Well, I have some plans, for the youth. Okay, some of the youth I'm coming up at Sixth Farm, which is Sixth Farm College in Nevis and CAPC, but there's nothing in place for them to have a job because most of them want to further their education to go overseas. But my thing is, I'm making a suggestion that you can have them with a program that they could be in the police station, to do a report, to do a statement. Because what I noticed of late, that many times people go to the police station to do a statement, the police officer will tell them they're going to call them back and never call back. Now, there are some jobs that they could do for maybe 2 years. You know, the government pay them to save some money. So when they're ready to go to college, they have a little savings instead of having them on the street.
Right.
Right? So what they can do is to put those children that come out of school and put those officers on the beat, you know, so the police force need help. They could tell them need help. And then also in the healthcare system, you know, these children may want to be a nurse, they may want to be a police, but who knows? You know, if that program is in place, at least they could save some money when they wait to go to college in the United States. Instead of taking a loan. Because that loan is going to affect them in the future when they come back because they have to pay back still.
Right. Some really good suggestions that you've made there, Kino, in terms of, you know, having youth training programs. You have a lot of young people who are, let's say, 16, 17, they just finished with high school, and they're looking for something to do. One of the things that we also have to remember is you have those who are more hands-on. So they perhaps want to learn a skill or a trade. They want to work in construction. They want to do carpentry or plumbing or electrical work. Then you have those who want to be the police officer, the doctor, the teacher, the scientist. So we have to find a way to cater to all of those needs.
Okay, that is correct. And you have a very important point. Like me, I'm very versatile. I'm very skilled in all stuff. I could do plumbing, electrical, carpentry, name it. Right? And I keep telling the youth of today to not learn one thing because you don't know an employer might employ you for 10 years and then who knows, tomorrow you go to work, you tell you they don't want you anymore.
Yes.
Now, instead of you going home to sit down, at least if you have a skill set, you can fit in. Tomorrow, I mean, like me, I have a captain license, I have a truck license. I put these things in place because I don't know what tomorrow brings.
Correct.
Now, I was employed by DSL for 23 years, right? I am not working, I'm working for them in a technical way, but I haven't been sitting down waiting for what I don't know. I don't know what the plan are. Now, today, I am doing welding because I'm a welder. Now, if I didn't have my welding skills, I have my children to feed. What would I do tomorrow? So what I'm saying to the youth, don't go and do one thing. Try to do multiple things and set your future goals.
All right, Kino. We're going to take some more calls, all right? So thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for your contribution to the program. Let's take this other call. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, Devonne.
Good morning. How are you?
Not too bad. I believe the caller was reading my mind. Because the same thing I was coming with. Now, our youth, lack of whatever. Sometimes they just come out of school, come out of college and whatsoever, nothing. Even if they come out of school without something, they could, just like how they got the STEP program, you put them on a construction site to go work. You know, put them on a construction site, go learn a trade. Put them, some of them in the hospital to help out the nurses, them, especially some of them female. Some of the male, them, you put them around construction site to work with electrician. You know, give them something. You know, a week time. That will work out better than a program that ain't learning nothing, because upon the program they ain't learning nothing, and I believe that's what this PEP program was designed for. But he ain't work out to be how it's supposed to be. That young people on that program, but maybe for 3 years or 4 years, and they learn a trade and they move on to something else. So that is what the caller just said. He's all right, and that's the same thing I was thinking too. Devonne, may God bless you, and God bless the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. You have a wonderful day.
You too, caller, and thank you for your contribution. Let's head back to the phone lines, and we'll take this other call. You're on the air, caller. Good morning. Hello, caller. Good morning. You're on the air. Okay, we're not getting that caller. Any call on the line? Okay, the phone lines remain open, and we're taking your calls 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. It is 11:37. We're talking about youth unemployment and looking at some of the factors that contribute to youth unemployment and underemployment. The callers so far have made some really great suggestions in terms of having training opportunities. I think for us here in St. Kitts and Nevis, one of the areas that we've been focusing on, the government has been focusing on, is looking at priority areas. And so they've been providing scholarship opportunities for people within specific areas to get training and certified in. The reality of the situation is tertiary education is very costly, and somebody has to pay for it, whether it is you or the government. We have a caller. Hello, caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Something I don't like. I hate when people call on those persons who works on the STEP program. Working on the STEP, you hearing me?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening.
Working on the STEP program, you could learn a trade, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got something called landscaping, you know. Landscaping is one of the most expensive jobs, you know, that some persons don't seem to understand, you know. Mm-hmm. Trimming a hedge, cutting a lawn. You could advise persons after they just done build a house, how to rake the land, because you can't just go in and rake land just as you like, you know.
Yeah.
How to build up a bed to put in flowers and all these things. So when people talk about STEP, it's like it's discriminating. That's one of the biggest skills to learn. Mm-hmm. Who get most money than people who got their own landscaping company. Mm-hmm. You could start from working on this STEP and end up to be your own boss. Some persons need to understand that. That's what I'm calling to speak of. Thanks. Good morning. Goodbye.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for your contribution to the program.
Cool.
More callers on the line? More callers? No. All right. It is 11:39. You're listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio, 96.1 FM. I'm Devonne, Cornelius, and thank you so much for joining me. A very fruitful conversation that we're having in terms of youth unemployment and looking at some of the factors that contribute to youth unemployment. And as I mentioned earlier, I am referring to a report that was prepared by the International Labour Organization on one of the issues that we have with regards to youth unemployment is brain drain, where people would go off and get themselves certified, get their degrees or what have you, and they decide to whether they're staying in the United States of America or they're going to stay in Canada or some other part of the world, because they have been given that opportunity to work in a particular position, and they're being paid more, far more than what they would be paid here or in their home country. And apart from the salary, more benefits, a better working environment, and one that supports training and growth. And I believe that these are some of the things that young people, and people in particular, look at whenever they're looking for employment. And so the question is, what should we do to ensure that our young people, our great minds, stay here and contribute to the national and the social development of St. Kitts and Nevis? We have to have the training programs. We have to provide the opportunities. We have to sometimes give people a chance. Give them a chance and see what they can bring to your organization, and they may be able to do something wonderful. We do have some callers coming in, so we're going to head back to the phone lines and take some more calls.
Yes. Hello, good morning. It's a good program, yes. But the youth, them, when they go over to study, right, they're supposed to come back here to do a little work here that we could feel good. But they're staying out there. And when they come back now, they can't go back in America or other country because we what they do up there. But if they come back here, let me understand them and see them. We will feel much more better. But when they go there, they don't come back, they don't study back, sink it, and they get the scholarship. And who here well want the scholarship? They ain't getting it. Take care.
All right, Carla, thank you for your contribution. One of the things that governments in the region have been doing is whenever they provide a scholarship to someone, they bond them. And so when you get that scholarship, you have an obligation, a legal obligation, to come back to your country, to go back home and to work, I believe, for at least 5 years. I think that has been the bonding agreement, so that the country could benefit from the training and expertise that you got while you were out there studying. So that is one of the things that they've been doing. But very great point made by the caller there and other callers. We also have the issue of political victimization. This is St. Kitts and Nevis and the Caribbean, very small, and the reality of the situation is politics is every single where you go. It is involved in everything when there is no need for it to be. And some people, and I remember I was having this conversation about maybe 2 years ago, and some people see you first for the party that you support before they see who you are and the contribution that you could bring to a particular organization. And so because of that, they completely rule you out, even if you're not involved. It could be a case where you carry a particular last name and they tell themselves, well, your last name is that, and me no want to have nothing to do with you. And that is the reality of the situation. As I mentioned earlier, you have a case where training programs have started, and because of the change of administration, the program has come to a premature close. And the only people that negatively impacts are the participants. It negatively impacts the participants. And I could say, I could say by extension the entire population, you know, but the people who organize these programs, I guess it comes to a case where they don't care. It's 11:44. We have a caller? Let's take this call. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Good morning, I'm doing well.
Like seeing your shot. You hear me?
Hello, caller, yes, go ahead and make your contribution.
No, I was saying the government can't give everybody jobs, but at the same time, they could pick around by firms and so, because if the people them go themselves, they will turn them down and see if they could help them with work. I hear you say something about victimization. That's the next thing. It's top headline in St. Kitts. People working, and if they turn them away, where they going? Just the same thing is not working and working. All of them are the same thing. You.
All right, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation here on The Edge. Let's hit this break.
Talking Sports is back. Join us as we bring you the scores, the stats, the facts, and lively interactive discussions on sporting events, personalities, locally, regionally, and internationally. It's Talking Sports, this and every Thursday night at 8 o'clock on ZIZ Radio.
Hello and welcome back to The Edge and ZIZ Radio. We have a caller. Hello, caller. Good morning.
Good morning again, Devonne.
Yes.
Now, talking about young people in entrepreneur. Now, I see that a young man out here willing to really do something in the entrepreneur, like selling and everything. But some of we senior people who into business long time, sometimes will give them a bad name. Especially maybe going to the bank to take a loan or go rent someplace. Because I made to understand down the boat, them down the terminal along there, they pay $100 a month. And the amount of money some people owe. I want to know how they allow them to owe these money and $100 a month. And but they want me not to you know. I believe that something that give me again. Okay, yesterday I was listening to the program, I was trying to get in, but somebody told me it's a rebroadcast program.
Yes.
And you was talking about, when Carl was talking about the bank, but take loan and bank must give loan and bank must give this. Mm-hmm. Bank got to be careful who they give loan. Because it got some people, they ain't responsible, they have no good responsibility, they can't manage nothing, and these things. And remember that the bank of people money. people let me and others money. So I believe that these senior people into business, they make a bad name for the young men and women who come and want to do maybe a salon, go to the bank and something. Because, brother, that man, you ever hear the cut off a Chinese bill yet? You hear the cut a Chinese current yet?
Yeah, well, they never tell me they get cut, so maybe.
You ever hear the Chinese them not pay the rent yet? You ever hear the Indian them not pay the rent yet? Man, this is how the country, a little bill, pay your bill, man, how the country don't go. How the economy don't go in your way, want to pay your bill. And all these things. All right, then, Devonne.
All right, caller, thank you for your contribution. We have another caller. All right. You know, as the caller made that comment, right, there are two things that came to mind where people often say that we need to support local and buy local. And I support that 100%. You know, in terms of supporting local and buying local and supporting our businesses here. That is good. At the same time, our businesses here need to learn customer service. We feel as though, because we're dealing with people who we see every day, there is no need for us to practice good customer service. And so we treat our customers who are from here in the own how. We talk to them how we feel like, and we have no respect. There's some business owners out there that they have no respect. And it is what it is. That is the reality of the situation. And so, on one hand, you can't be asking people to support local businesses when the reality of the situation is when you're supporting these businesses, sometimes you even second guess if you should because of the experience that you get. Mind you, I hope this is not taken out of context where it is being said that I'm asking people not to support local business. That is not so. I'm saying that our local businesses need to take customer service serious and don't start to yank when white people come into your shop. Treat people who look like you the same. And I'm saying it because I've experienced it where I've done business with local people, and Jazzy, if you see how they deal with you, like, well, you're bad me for, and then somebody come in with it lighter than you and I, and they get a whole different experience. A whole different experience, you know. So as the caller made that contribution, that was what, you know, came to me. It's 11:50, guys. We're taking your calls, 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. You are listening to The Edge for Thursday, May 23rd, 2024. Just like that, May is done. May is over. Next month is June, July, and by the time you know it, is Happy New Year 2025. Oh my. Time waits for no man, so whatever you have to do, do it now. Do it now. We're at the home stretch, so we'll be taking some more calls. Feel free to call us and make your contribution. If you're just tuning in, we are on the topic of youth unemployment and underemployment. And we've looked at some of the factors that contribute to youth unemployment and, you know, some of the training programs. But I made the emphasis earlier, and so too did the caller, about having training programs and opportunities for young people. I love how the schools, they don't just focus, and I think, they don't just focus on the academics. There's some schools that focus on the skills training in terms of woodwork and home economics and all of these things. Even though there's the theory side, there's a practical side to it. They teach people how to cook and they teach people how to build a cupboard. These things are really, 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 really important. Having an extra skill could really save your life and to bring in some extra income. So you have young people who may want to go off to some sort of training school, whether it be in the Caribbean or other parts of the world, to get trained in welding or carpentry or plumbing or electrical engineering and these things. You know, everybody can't work in an office. Somebody has to build the house. Somebody has to put on the roof. Somebody has to build the cars. Somebody has to run the blocks. Somebody has to, you know, do all of these things. And so It is 11:52, and we're going to begin bringing this program to a close as we prepare for the midday news coming up at 12. Let me say thank you so much for joining me in the program for today. Until next time, you guys continue to stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Remember, please don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive. And take your time on the road. Pedestrians, please, when you're crossing the road, look left, look right before you pass. Bus drivers, take it easy on the road. You are being entrusted with lives to take people to and from places. So take it easy on the road. You guys have a good time. See you tomorrow. Same time, same station. I'm Devonne Cornelius. Goodbye.